Welcome back, everybody, to the locker room.
Gather around this table, boys. Bring no shame, I'll lose my voice.
Welcome back, everybody, to the locker room. I'm your host, Will Wright, and I know it's been a long time. We're back for Season 2, and we have a couple things to announce. First thing to talk about is we are now partnered and affiliated with Rebel Walk. Any information that we talk about in this video or any video throughout the future, if you want more information on it, go ahead and check out Rebel Walk. They probably already have an article about it. That's probably where we got our information from, too. Number 2, we have a new co-host. Nolan is not gone forever. He's going to be working on some other things for us, but I'd like to introduce our new co-host, Hayden.
Hey guys, it's a pleasure to be working with y'all. Really excited to be here, see where I can go.
Hayden is, unlike me, is a Mississippi native, and he's grown up an Ole Miss fan. So if there's any Ole Miss sports information to know, he's probably got it.
100%. I've been coming up here since I was real little, and I love Ole Miss sports.
Hey, don't we all? But getting into the new season, there's a couple things we need to talk about. We all know how the football season ended. It ended, on a high note, I would say. But we're not going to talk about that. We already know the information. We need to talk about basketball.
That's right, we do. So we are having a heck of a year this year. Heck of a year this year. It's a new energy behind Ole Miss basketball. You got Chris Beard, the Beard Effect. We're building a culture around Ole Miss basketball, something that we haven't seen in a very long time as an Ole Miss fan. It's just a whole different environment, a whole different attitude towards it. You have people coming in 2 hours ahead of time, doing drink specials and fighting over seats. Yeah. And you've never really seen this in Ole Miss basketball before. Not quite to this extension. Unfortunately, the past game we took a loss to Kentucky, 75-63. A little bit of a heartbreaker on the road because we really needed that win to establish us as.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we're projected as a number 10 seed. And I think we could jump up a little higher for the tournament, maybe do some damage.
You said we're projected a 10 seed right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't really feel too bad. The way that I see it is, we haven't really had basketball for a while. And I haven't been an Ole Miss fan my whole life. This is my first year at the school, so I never got to experience what it was like before Chris Beard. But even at the games, you can feel it. Mm-hmm. You can feel that something is different. From the students that have been there, even from you can feel that there is something there that has not been there either ever or in a very long time. Mm-hmm. Almost every home game, it seems like we're keep re-breaking our attendance record. Every game, it feels like a football game. I remember the Mississippi State game. I got there an hour and a half early and had to sit in the nosebleeds because the entire student section was already full.
Oh yeah. It was. I got there an hour and a half early, and I had to fight for a seat in the student section.
You got one of the last ones, too.
Yeah, the very last one.
I got in there maybe 10 minutes after you did, and the student section was full by then. Mm-hmm. It was wild. We ended up sitting in nosebleeds, and even then, I really got some LSU football game vibes, the same music, the lights, and super close game. Dude. It just felt so cool to be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited for what is to come, especially if hopefully Chris Beard sticks around. There's always that question, but I think he will. I really think he will.
I think he will too. I think he likes where he's at. This is a perfect. The only way he can go is up from here. Mm-hmm. The perfect place to grow and really just like I said, build that culture, build a program, create winners. So lots of potential.
And I feel like that's something that's really tied into all Ole Miss sports right now is we have a culture. Because we had just talked about, I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. NIL, it's all these players want to go to these big schools that are championship-bound teams and can pay them a lot of money. We aren't doing that. Our highest paid guy, like we said, is Jackson Dart, and he's not making half as much as what the backup quarterback at Tennessee's making.
Yeah, I think Dart currently is at $1.4 million. And then our runner-up is Trey Harris. He's at about $729,000 thousand.
Something like that. I mean, those are just rough estimates. We could be completely wrong. But even then, the backup quarterback for Tennessee is making $8-9 million.
Yeah.
And it's like he played one game and he did good and he looks like he has a bright future next year. But I mean, we have something that other schools don't. We have a culture. Like Lane Kiffin and now Chris Beard, and we all know our baseball team has it. They have something going on in that locker room where there's so much more involved than just money. There are a few teams that I feel that want to win like they do. And I feel like that's why all of our athletics are all picking up, because we have built like Chris Beard himself said, some kind of culture in this, like the entire, like all athletics. It's not just basketball or just football.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a mix of stuff too. It's not only that we have a sudden boom in talent in our team and our coaching staff, but I've also think that we've changed pace on how we market our games too. Social media wise, we're really just pulling in more students. Used to, we wouldn't fill up the student section. That really wouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. But we're also pulling in the community as well. So, you'll see their posts on Facebook, Instagram. You've seen those wanted posters and these giveaways and come get a free T-shirt, come get a happy hour drink or whatever like that.
Still yet to get a T-shirt at a basketball game. I'm so mad about it. Every time I go, they're either like already gone or I can't get a spot in the student section. And I'm showing up early too. Yeah. Like every game, it's like, okay, last game I showed up an hour early, so next time I'll show up about an hour and a half. Show up an hour and a half. It's like, okay, well, everyone else had the same idea, so now I need to show up 2 hours. I show up 2 hours early, and it's the same thing, same story.
And the problem is like, it's really awkward when like you get a T-shirt that's not your size, and you're like having to ask around, be like, hey man, like, is that a large? Because this is a small. This is a child small.
I don't think I could fit this around my arm.
Who is wearing this? So, I don't know.
You look pretty small. Not to offend you or anything. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really gotten to experience that yet, but now that you bring it up, it might be for the best. It might be quite the awkward conversation, or I might just be walking away with a small T-shirt.
Yeah. Maybe
but
so. Like a
how
child's
do you
T-shirt.
see this season ending for us, though?
Oh man. So, I mean, the last time we entered conference play undefeated, we lost nearly all of our conference games. I think we only won like 4 or 5 of those conference games out of the whole, SEC play, and then made it barely any way into the SEC tournament at all. So, I don't know though. Let's see. Coming up, we got to play South Carolina again. I think we play them tomorrow.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah. We got to play at State again. I think we could win again there. I'd love to see that happen in their house. So I'd love to see that. And then we got Missouri. No, tomorrow's Missouri.
Is it?
Yeah, tomorrow's Missouri. South Carolina's next weekend.
We better win that game, because I'm gonna have a whole lot of text messages flooding in.
Yep.
I don't know how many times I've said it on this podcast, but I'm gonna say it again. I know more people at Mizzou than I do here.
We definitely can win that game. We just can't screw it up. Like the only way we're gonna lose that game is if we do it ourselves. Like Missouri's not gonna beat us. We're gonna beat ourselves.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
I mean, Mizzou was a big. Jackson, I hope you're listening to this. You're a big letdown this year, man. All that talk about, Mizzou might have a chance to win the whole tournament this year. What's your record? Like 8-19? Get out of here. Don't even look at me. But I could see us making the tournament. It's not a guarantee that we make the tournament, but I think we make the tournament. I don't think we go far.
I think we're making the tournament. I think we're going to go farther than what people predict us to, because of the fact that when it comes down to it, we have won some very close and tight games this year, and we know how to play under pressure. And I think we'll thrive in that first round or two of the tournament itself. I don't see us making it to Sweet 16.
I think Sweet 16 is our ceiling, absolute ceiling.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think we go any farther than that.
I wish I was wrong. I want to be wrong so bad, but I think it's our ceiling.
So. But I mean that's good improvement. When's the last time we even made the tournament?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, because like I said, hard to pay attention.
Yeah,
So
exactly. This is, I mean, it's new paying attention to. I mean, I grew up a Duke basketball fan, so that's really the only basketball team that I've been paying attention to up until now. We all know how they're doing without Coach K, but I mean, that's besides the point. But overall, I think that the only way we get to the Sweet 16 is I don't think we're better than a lot of these teams. I think what puts us above everyone else is, like I said before, is the culture. And I think especially if they make that tournament for the first time, that's going to be huge for our school. That's going to be everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like the entire school, like even people who don't care about sports are going to be raving about it. So I think the players are going to want nothing more to go deep and win the whole fucking thing. So I honestly think that's what's going to put us above everyone else because I think we're going to want it more.
Basing off of wanting it more, it reminds me. So opening day of baseball season.
Good segue. I like that.
Good one.
I like that.
Very excited. Very excited. We play the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at 10:35 p.m. So I don't know for any of you who are dedicated. I don't even know. Is it going to be televised? Do you know if it is?
I don't think so.
I doubt it. If it is, though, I guess we'll see it at the bar or something like that. I don't know. There's no restaurant that'll play.
It might be the only place being televised is on campus. That might be it.
Yeah. So, but that also reminds me, rule changes in right field for student section. Mm-hmm. That's very disappointing. Not a huge change, but it's a little different. Because you can't camp out anymore. Ole Miss provides the chairs, so they're going to dictate how many people can fit into one area. So, it could be really tight. It might not be as bad as we think it is. It's one of those things where we're just going to have to see.
Right.
So,
I mean, same thing with the basketball. Like, this is my first year here, so I never got to experience the campouts. I was very excited. I've seen many pictures and videos of some incredibly stupid things happening. I saw some mud wrestling going down last year. I saw some guys sliding down a mud hill. I don't know. I saw some guys playing Fortnite. Like there was about everything you could think of going on in that campsite. But as much as I want to experience that, I feel like what they're doing might be a little bit more fair. Yeah, it's more boring, but I feel like the chances of actually get into the student section are a lot higher now. I think it's a more fair chance rather than if you had a something to do the next morning so you couldn't afford to be camping out so you didn't get a spot, you're not screwed. Like before it was like you don't get a spot, you don't have a spot.
Yeah.
So now it's like, oh, I didn't get it this game, I'll shoot for it next game. Kind of like basketball. That's why I'm not so upset that I can't find a spot in the student section. So I'm like, okay, I'll get there next game for sure.
I mean, in reality, that's kind of how it should have been. But I guess the whole camping out set us apart from other people.
It's like our tailgating for football, like the Grove.
It sets us apart. It's what makes us Ole Miss, and I think that's really what gets people upset about it.
Right.
They realize it's probably a more fair way. They just don't like it being different. They like that tradition.
Yeah, I mean, I have learned in my time here we are a very tradition-based school. Mm-hmm. So I could see that, but I mean at the same time, I feel like our fan base. I mean, I've seen some stuff in right field. Like some videos, I feel like that alone is pretty traditional and adds to the culture like we talked about. So honestly, I don't see this as a huge, big loss. I mean, I guess we'll see when the time comes and when the season starts. When's our first home game?
First home game is next weekend, actually. I think it's Friday night. I believe it's Friday night.
Who do we don't play a big, it's like an FCS.
No, yeah, it's the Panthers, the very small school.
Yeah,
very small
it's an
school.
FCS,
it might be it's an FCS, possibly D2 school. I'm not sure though. So
maybe we can give them that Ole Miss football Mercer treatment.
Maybe so. It's so hard though with baseball, man. Just because it takes so few amount of players to impact the game.
Right. I remember I played baseball my whole life. It's different. I mean, you could go into the tournament. We go into tournaments as the number 1 seed, and we could play a team who hasn't won a game all year. We could still lose 8-0.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I growing up and, really paying attention to football, and then, as I'm getting older, I'm, trying to pay attention to other sports, too, and it's not exactly the same feeling.
No.
You know,
baseball's very different.
It's very different.
It's exciting in its own way. Not the way that football and basketball are. It has an excitement, and some people say that baseball is the most boring sport. I could see that. I feel like
partially agree.
Yeah, I mean,
like there's circumstances.
If I'm being honest, I don't really like watching baseball on TV. Like even I'm growing up in St. Louis, huge Cardinals guy. Watching it on TV, unless it's like a playoff game where there's something on the line, doesn't really excite me. But in person, there are very few things I like more than going to a baseball game in person, or like high school, college, or professional,
or sober. We do not condone underage drinking.
You are of age.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you are of age, so I wouldn't know what you're talking about. I'm going to have to cut that part out.
No, we don't. All right.
We'll see. Okay, but in the baseball season, the Magnolia State curse, it happened in Mississippi State right before it did us. As soon as we win the national championship, the next season just goes straight down the gutter. I mean, we all know we didn't even make the playoffs last year after winning a national title. It's like that's pretty bad.
It's like Mississippi made a deal with the devil.
Mm-hmm. But
it's like
honestly,
that old blues song.
You should make that. You should make a blues song called The Magnolia State Curse about the baseball team.
No, but that's a great idea though. That's a cool idea.
Locker room productions.
We can give that idea to somebody and let them run with it though. We know people that make music, so
we'll take all the credit. I probably did, but I don't know. I would honestly chalk up last season to the fact that our national championship, most of us got drafted.
Yeah.
So I feel like we lost a lot of players. So it was kind of a big shock. It's like, okay, well now we're stuck with a bunch of new guys and a bunch of backups.
Well, I mean, also people forget this, but before we won that national championship, our head coach, great coach by the way, was on his way out the door. People were kind of calling for his head. You know, wasn't the best start to a season. No one saw was even going to the the tournament or Omaha or anything like that. So, it was kind of a crazy turnaround there. I don't know how much longer he'll be here, honestly, if he can't produce another decent season this year, next year.
I'm pretty confident this is going to be a good season for us. I mean, like, we got a lot of new transfer guys. We have some guys who have been in the system for a little bit and have gotten used to it. We have now a lot of good recruits. I mean, I think we're in a very strong space. And, I mean, yeah, I know SEC baseball, just like every other sport, but SEC baseball is very underrated, honestly. No one really talks about how that's also, like, the SEC not only dominates football, completely dominant in baseball, too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's not going to be an easy ride, but honestly, I think we can handle it. I don't think we're going to be back to our national championship team, but we're still going to be high caliber. We're going to finish the season ranked. We're going to make the tournament. We're going to go deep in the tournament.
We're going to compete, dude. We're going to,
We could pull another national. I would give us our ceiling another natty. I think it is possible. The low chances.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's out of reach.
Don't let the Rebs get hot.
So. I mean, hopefully we start hot tonight in Hawaii.
Maybe so.
But, I mean, speaking of hot, coaching carousel, football.
Yes.
That's, I mean, unrelated to Ole Miss because, I mean, it was a little scary when Saban left. I mean, thank Saban for everything he did. I mean, he basically built and shaped Lane Kiffin. But I thought a lot of people thought for sure we were losing Lane.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I was, I had some doubts. In my gut, I thought he would stay. I had a gut feeling he was staying. But every once in a while, there'd be like some kind of like crazy dude that comes out on social media and is like, oh, well, Lane's visiting Bama, or he's talking about this, or there's like, some kind of tweet that's like he likes to, mess with Ole Miss people. He had some fun with it. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like for me that it might have been the opposite because in my head, I was like, I think he's gonna leave. Like, I know we all know he's been eyeballing that Bama job. Like, it's his time. They're in a good spot. He's proved himself to be a good coach. But then in my gut, it's like what he's built here and his relationship with the players and how much this campus loves him, there's no way. There is no way he leaves.
Well, not only that, it's I think he would have left if circumstances were different. So let's say, we don't, it's before NIL and before the transfer portal really opened up its regulations. I'm gonna say if it were in that situation there where Bama keeps all of its recruits and players and everyone stays committed to Bama, I think Lane might have left in that situation. Yes. Just because, that goes back to this conversation we had and everyone's had for years. What happens when Saban retires? And it usually ends with the whole whoever gets his job is going to get a free championship because they're dealing with the highest caliber team in the country, But now NIL, transfer portal, money is getting thrown everywhere in all directions of NCAA.
Right.
That has completely changed the scenario. So, you got players leaving, you got coaches leaving, you got, it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, I can see that. And
it's not the same scenario as if you're keeping everybody, you're keeping your entire staff.
Do you think it still stands? Do you think Bama's new coach has a free championship?
No.
I don't either.
No, dude, that's not, I don't. I think I give my ceiling for Bama. My ceiling for Bama is a 10-win season.
I agree.
And then I think there's even a possibility that their lowest, they could hit a 7-win season next year.
I don't think they go lower than I don't think they have a negative record. I think they stay positive. Could be one game above positive.
I mean, they're going to a bowl game. But
yeah, I mean, they're going to a bowl game. I mean, listen, their coach just lost a national championship with Washington. I mean, Washington was kind of just came out of nowhere. As soon as he came in there, then his thing started picking up. So obviously he knows what he's doing. And yeah, Bama lost a lot of guys, but it's like all their backups were like also 4- and 5-star guys.
Yeah.
So they're not hurting at all.
Well, yeah, Bama has depth, but 30 players did hit the transfer portal, and only half of those are starters. So there are gaps there. There are some gaps.
I mean, yeah, there are gaps, but I mean, it's like, it's not like he didn't have gaps in Washington. He made do. I mean, I'd say Jalen Milroe. I'm not saying by any means he's anywhere close to being as good as Michael Penix, but he's a similar style quarterback, I would say. They can get their legs moving if they want to, but at the same time, they can both air that thing out.
And I am not Paul Feinbaum. I am not here to say the dynasty is over, even though it actually might be. It could be. I'm not like that guy that's always like, oh, it's over for Bama. Bama's done. Bama's done. I'm not the guy that says that every year, okay? But this year, actually, it probably is that scenario. I will say that.
Right.
So
and I mean,
it's different.
I'm just saying. I know a lot of people are going to call me biased here, but without Bama, who was going to take over the SEC West? And not a single one of you, and no one listening, nobody watching. How can you even disagree that it wouldn't be us? How wouldn't it be us?
Oh, it's
our
open.
only loss was to Bama with Saban.
Yeah.
And Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, and we didn't lose to Bama by much. Yeah, we got blown out by Georgia. That wasn't pretty. We don't have to talk about that.
Our biggest competition is LSU.
I disagree.
That is our biggest competition.
I disagree. That brings me to another thing I want to talk about is our dark horse team in the SEC and a team that I think is overhyped. And I think overhyped is LSU. Because last year, they went winning games when Jaden Daniels wasn't having a career day. And even against us, Jaden Daniels had a career. He threw 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and we still came out on top.
Well, we squeaked by. That. That could have gone either way, though.
I know, but I'm saying that
they were 2 good plays away from hitting the SEC championship.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I think that LSU, the only reason they had the little success that they did, I mean, yeah, they had the Heisman winner, but they won, 9 games?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they really didn't have that good of a season other than Jaden Daniels, and he's the only reason they were winning, in my opinion.
Yeah. So,
to me, it's like all they had, their defense is trash. Their defense was awful. I mean, we definitely showed that we figured out how to exploit it, just like a lot of other people did. I mean, Mizzou was scoring on them. It's just that Jaden Daniels, again, had a day. That's the only reason they beat Mizzou is because of Jaden Daniels. So I honestly think that without Jaden Daniels, without Malik Neighbors, and I forget his name, but their other receiver who also is entering the draft and going to be a first-round pick, who do they have? I mean, yeah, they have depth. They're another big SEC school. But do they have the depth to beat us? Because we're the same team. With their best guys, their complete carries, they couldn't beat us. Now they don't have those guys. You think? I don't think that they could top us at all.
That is true. That is true. Did you happen to catch what they were ranked in the recruiting class this year? It's always like top 10.
They were pretty high. They did get the number one. They got the number one quarterback, number one receiver, number one running back. But they're not going to play this year. The quarterback for sure won't play. It's like Bryce Underwood, I think is his name.
Yeah,
he's a dog. I will admit that guy's a dog. And then I don't know the wide receiver, the running backs' names, but still. I mean, they got three guys. They couldn't beat us with a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
And one of the top, and like the number 2 projected wide receiver in this year's draft class. There's even some NFL scouts putting Malik Neighbors number 1 over Marvin Harrison. So
that's impressive.
I know. I mean, I don't agree, but in my eyes, I'm not worried. I don't think like those guys probably aren't even going to play for another year or two. Even if they do, I don't think they have what it takes to beat us. Their defense didn't improve at all. Their offensive line didn't improve at all. They got 3 weapons, and those weapons can't do anything without anybody to protect them. So I'm not worried about LSU. I think they're going to follow the rankings. They're going to think they're going to finish the season unranked.
You really think that?
I do. And if they do, it'll be bottom 25.
I think right now it's between Ole Miss and LSU battling out in the West. And then, Oklahoma might surprise some people. Texas might surprise some people.
Oklahoma's going to have a down year. So, Texas, I'm scared of. They're in the East, though, aren't they?
Oh, wait, they are in the East. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Texas scares me. I'm not worried about Oklahoma, especially with the loss of Dylan Gabriel. They take a lot of big hits. I think they'll be back the next couple of years. But right now, this year, not worried about them. I mean, LSU could pull it out and beat us. Bama, I'm not saying Bama's no one to worry about, but I think we're going to take the SEC West this year, and I think the only people standing in our way in the East are Georgia and Mizzou is my dark horse for the SEC.
Really?
I do. They had a great year last year with very little.
Yeah.
They also were building something. Like I said, I have a lot of friends at Mizzou, and they're saying the same thing. They are building something in Mizzou, something similar to what we have here. And honestly, like they did take some losses, and Cody Schrader, their running back, but their quarterback, Brady Cook, stayed. Luther Burden, who's an absolute dog, St. Louis native too. He's a dog. He stayed. And they got a couple new transfer guys. I think they're dangerous. They've almost beaten Georgia 2 years in a row. I think they're very close to us.
I admire the way that their coach fires them up.
Right.
Name?
Drinkwitz.
Eli Drinkwitz.
Eli Drinkwitz, yeah.
Yes. I admire his energy and his spirit in the locker room on the sideline. I admire the fight that he has in him, and he has that kind of that old fashioned we're gonna punch you in the face mentality.
Dan Campbell, or bite your kneecaps off, or get knocked back down, come back up, bite another kneecap off. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't punch back, we're gonna continue to pummel you.
Oh yeah,
it's we're gonna dominate you.
And I got major respect for the guy because you remember game 1, they have a pretty solid quarterback room, and Brady Cook came out who struggled last year, and no one wanted Brady Cook to start, so the entire stadium was booing him. And he had his back, and he said in the press conference, because that is absolutely unacceptable. I have Brady Cook's back. I trust him with my life. And Brady Cook came, and he balled out, and he showed that Drinkwitz was not wrong. So I love that in a coach, especially having your quarterbacks back like that in a time like that. And I mean, Brady Cook's villain arc, I loved it. I don't think he beats Jackson Dart's villain arc right now. I mean, Dart, he's got the eye black and everything. He's on full, Vader mode this year.
I think my dark horse, and I think this is going to surprise a few people and maybe not, my dark horse for the SEC is actually Auburn. So, you got Hugh Freeze. if Hugh Freeze can stay away from prostitutes and limos, he could build something very special there. He's got the money and the culture that Auburn has surrounded around their football program. I think he's well on his way to winning a national championship or going to the playoffs. Yeah, now it's the playoffs is really the goal right now, really for them.
Right.
A playoff run in this year or next year. I'm predicting that. Auburn, they have the recruiting class. I don't know if you saw, but they're in the top 10 somewhere.
They did have a good recruiting
They're
class.
way up there. Hugh Freeze has the coaching ability. He has some awesome coordinators. As much as I hate to see it, because I'm not a big Auburn guy, But they got something building over there. They got something brewing, and I could see them going a long ways in the next year or two. So,
I mean, I could see it. Every year they're a competitor. I mean, they almost took Bama down. I mean, they do every year. They're not, they're not a team that not to be scared. Like, you can't, we struggle with them too. You really can't go into playing Auburn and be fully ready and expect to win. I mean, they even gave Georgia some trouble.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I could see it.
They were one good defensive play away from stopping Bama.
They really were. They really were.
So,
I mean, I wonder. Oh man, that's a whole other topic. What would have happened if they beat Bama?
I don't think we should go into what ifs at the moment. But,
I mean, probably not. We'll save it for another time. But that's about all we have for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We are back for Season 2. We will be pumping out weekly content. We have some other big things planned for you guys, something a little bit different outside of this studio. So I'm pretty excited about that. And if you want any more information about anything we talked about, go ahead and check out Rebel Walk. I'll put a link down in the description. I mean, they're fantastic. I mean, as soon as anything happens, you can expect the next couple of days there's going to be a story about it, and they're always fantastic stories. So, thank you, everybody. Hotty toddy, and good night.